Hey, what's going on, everyone? So I wanted to give my thoughts on the latest PlayStation 5 price reveal and showcase. We got the release date and the price of the console, as well as some new game announcements. I'm actually recording this the day after the event, but I did watch it live yesterday when it was showcased. So I wanted to wait a day just because last week's video that I did on the Xbox Series S, I gave my thoughts and opinions on it, but because it was like so sudden and I recorded that video like literally after it was officially announced, like the very next day, I believe, because it was announced overnight, all this new information started to surface later on throughout that day and into the very next day, and I just, it's unfortunate. I didn't get to cover a lot of it then, so I wanted to give myself a day on this video just to digest everything that was happening and see if there was any new news or whatnot coming out that wasn't going to be talked about in this press briefing. And on top of that, it was actually good that I waited because it resulted in some good outcomes, and I'll share that with you guys a little bit later, alright? So I wrote down a list pretty much of everything that's, not necessarily everything that was showcased, but all the stuff that I was interested in, alright? So first of all, we got a reveal of Final Fantasy XVI. This is pretty exciting. I am not a huge Final Fantasy fan, as you guys know. In fact, I really only got into the series with Final Fantasy XIII, which I thought was meh. I never finished the game, but I do actually want to give it another try to see if I can get through it. But I always liked the game's art direction, and Final Fantasy XV was really the first Final Fantasy that I played from start to finish, and I thought it was a decent game. I don't think it was overly amazing. I thought the story was hit or miss at some points, but I think it was it laid the good foundation for future stuff to come. And I do have the Final Fantasy VII Remake, which I haven't played yet, but I do actually own the game. It's still wrapped in the cellophane, but I played the demo, and I was very impressed with the combat system in the demo, so I'll get to that game eventually. But now we have Final Fantasy XVI. This is made by the same director as the guy who did the Final Fantasy XIV online game. So this is it's as typical with all the Final Fantasies. They're all different styles and different stories and whatnot. So this one's looking for a more sort of medieval type of style. It looks like more swords and stuff. You're not going to see sort of this really interesting art direction that we saw in Final Fantasy 15, where it's sort of like modern, somewhat futuristic, but you have technology, then there's also swords at play and stuff like that. It looks a little bit different. And it's something I always appreciate about that franchise, is just they do something different every time. So I'm going to give this one a shot. It was shown to us, this trailer was shown to us running on the PC with specs similar to PS5, and they pointed this out first and foremost before they actually showed us the trailer. So I gotta give them a high five for being transparent, really. That was really nice of them to do that. But I like the trailer. I think it looks interesting. I'm going to have to wait to see what the game's going to be like when we finally play it. But it's nice to see that we're getting a new mainstream Final Fantasy game on the new generation of systems. The graphics didn't blow me away. I mean, they looked good, right? But I wasn't fully blown away. I think there was a bigger jump when we saw Final Fantasy 15's visuals. But hopefully, unlike Final Fantasy 15, hopefully Final Fantasy 16 runs at a smooth frame rate and, it takes advantage of all those cool extra powers that the PS5 and the Series X are going to have. I take that back. It's going to be a console exclusive on the PS5. It's not even coming to the Series X, but it is coming to PC. So we're going to have to wait and see when that game comes out, what it's going to be like. Pretty cool. So then they transitioned into SpiderMan Miles Morales. We saw a little bit of a gameplay demo this time showing off the combat. Looks fun. I really enjoyed the 2018 Spider-Man game. I thought they did a really good, solid job there. This looks like it's going to be very similar. I expect with the Miles characters, you're going to have different powers here and there that's going to transition into the combat. They sort of redid his animations as well. So I think it's going to be really fun. There's going to be 2 editions of the Spider-Man Miles Morales game, and one's going to be the Gold Edition, one's going to be the Standard Edition, all right? The Gold Edition is going to come with the Spider-Man 2018 Remastered for PS5, so that's an important thing to note. However, I don't know if you already own a Spider-Man 2018 game if you're going to get a remastered patch or something for PS5. They haven't clarified that yet. But if you want to spend an extra $20, I think it is, for the gold edition of Spider-Man Miles Morales. You do get the Spider-Man 2018 game with that, probably a digital download, and it's remastered for the PlayStation 5, which probably just means uptick in resolution. Maybe they added ray tracing. I don't know. But here's the interesting thing, and we're going to see this actually transition through some of the other games as well. And I'll discuss sort of more detail and my thoughts on it later on in the video. But Spider-Man Miles Morales is also coming to PlayStation 4, which we didn't know before. We were under the impression that it was a PS5 only game, but it is coming to PS4. So there's that. Then we have Hogwarts Legacy. This is really interesting. Now, I remembered back a year ago where I saw it was leaked off-screen footage of this supposed Harry Potter RPG that was being worked on, and I saw this video. It was only about 30 seconds of actual gameplay from it, but it looked like visually stunning. And, you know, the Harry Potter universe has great potential for a full RPG, you know, video game, something akin to like The Witcher or Dragon Age, something like that, you know. I see really cool, good potential for Harry Potter, that sort of the world, you know, and the lore and everything like that to transition into a full RPG game. Well, we finally got the reveal for it. It's being made by, I think it's a new studio, but Avalanche is also working, I guess, in conjunction with this new studio on the game, and it's called Hogwarts Legacy. What you're supposedly going to be doing is this is a full action RPG. You create your own character, you're going through the Hogwarts school semester, and I guess there's different things and whatnot. You can explore the whole ground. This is great potential that I'm seeing with this game, and it's nice to see that something like the Harry Potter line of films and stuff, that being taken and really expanded upon. You know, and really, I think it has, again, great potential for video games because you can just do a lot more with the storytelling there. So, provided that this game's going to be as deep as it potentially could be, I think this could be easily one of the biggest sleeper hits that we've seen probably for quite some time. So I'm going to be keeping a close eye on this, but I really liked what I saw. You know, I'm just going to have to see what the combat is like in that game because, you know, you're casting spells. Is it going to be something, are we going to have something like the crappy Harry Potter games that we've been getting from these studios, or are we going to actually get like a full-blown, you know, some type of melee slash ranged combat system? You know, we're going to have to wait and see. But it looks really cool, and I'm actually really looking forward to seeing more of the game whenever they share it with us. It is slated for release, by the way, next year, they said, which I think is too soon. I think we probably might see a delay for that game into 2022 at least. I just feel like they would have shown us a lot more if it was coming out next year, all right? Then we got Call of Duty Black Ops, a Cold War demo for the campaign this time around, which was pretty cool. Now this is what I'm looking forward to, you know, when it comes to Call of Duty. I don't have the time to really invest in multiplayer as much as I did before. And I didn't, to be honest, I liked Modern Warfare's gameplay, right? And I liked the campaign. What really took me away from the multiplayer in 2019's Modern Warfare was just the layout of everything. It's like there's the way that they laid out the menu system in Modern Warfare 2019's online is complete shit. There's like just more options leading to other options, and everything's leading to a paywall. It just looked like a complete mess. So I'm hoping that Black Ops kind of goes back to basics in that respect. But as far as the single player campaign goes, I was actually really impressed. I was expecting very similar, just more faster-paced gameplay to Modern Warfare 2019. That's kind of what we got here, but there seems to be a lot more contextual movements, so things like you can grab enemies and use them as human shields now, and you can also do these really intense, fast-paced, you know, first-person takedowns as well. There was a point where the guy shot a sniper at an enemy, and it went into like a sniper elite mode where it showed the bullet, you know, and going through the guy's skull. So I feel like it's great potential if they could really if all those were not just part of the demo, but were actually integrated into the full gameplay itself, this could be actually a really, really cool game. And I really like the Cold War style, you know, them going to the 80s now. It's a lot of fun and stuff like that. So I think it looks pretty fun. It's probably going to be a good time. All the Call of Duty campaigns are honestly a good time. So hopefully this one is a good one. I like that it's a direct sequel to the original Black Ops, which probably is my overall favorite Call of Duty in the series. So we'll go ahead and wait for that one. Resident Evil 8 Village, we got a second trailer including some gameplay, and thank God the frame rate was much better in this trailer than it was in the initial trailer that we saw. So we didn't really get any new information. It was more just different scenes. We got little tidbits of gameplay in the actual trailer itself, but we didn't really get a full gameplay demo. Still trying to unravel the mystery, but I mean, it's going to be great. I really liked what they did with the Resident Evil 7 reboot, if you want to call that, of the series. I think they did a fantastic job. They remade 2 and 3. I haven't played Resident Evil 3 Remake, but I played Resident Evil 2 Remake and absolutely loved it. So I'm looking forward to Resident Evil 8. You know, I think Capcom's made such a great return, you know, to all their franchises, and you know, seeing that they're going to go stick with the first-person gameplay in this one, and I don't know if it's going to be more faster-paced or if they're going to have it still slow down, but I'm getting like lots of Resident Evil 4 vibes, and that's really, really cool. So looking forward to that. We got another trailer for Deathloop. This is the new game from Arcane Studios. Kind of like a cross between like Dishonored and more like faster-paced game gunplay, I would say. It looks cool. This is probably going to be a fun game. I do not expect this to break any records. I still get the impression that the story is sort of, you know, thrown off to the side, like they don't care too much about the storytelling aspect. This is going to be a good game for multiplayer, but it is going to be a single-player game, they said. So it's probably going to be a fun game. It looks like it's really fun to play. Is it going to be anything amazing? I didn't get the impression of that in this trailer. I just basically saw, here's a really fun game that looks like a good time for a couple hours. So we'll have to wait and see. Another trailer for Oddworld Soulstorm. Now, I wasn't initially interested in this game, typically because I'm just not a huge fan of platformers, at least the side-scrolling ones. But after seeing this trailer, I think I actually may give this game a shot. The visuals were just off the charts. So I'm seeing like CG quality level visuals here in real time on the PS5, and it looks fantastic. It looks crazy, actually. So I'm probably going to give this game a shot just out of pure curiosity, and the visuals look fantastic anyway. So we'll have to wait and see. I know Oddworld, this is a remake of the sequel that came out like many moons ago, and I know that they remade the first game on the PS4, I believe, back in 2014. So I may look into actually picking that one up as well and playing that. But I like this trailer for Oddworld Soulstorm. It looks really good, and if anything, I think this is going to be a beautiful game to play. And then finally, well, not super finally, but the last major thing that they showed was Demon's Souls Remake, but we saw gameplay this time. We actually got a good 5-minute gameplay demo. Besides the guy just sort of walking through all the enemies and one hitting them except, you know, for the boss, which I think that they basically lowered the difficulty for this guy going through the demo just so they can just record the demo quickly. I doubt it's going to be like that when you actually get your hands on it. But oh my god, this game, I mean, this looks like a generational leap of a franchise, and the visuals as well are just top-notch. I mean, I am relatively a new fan of the Souls series. You know, the first really game of this style that I played was Bloodborne on the PS4. I took a chance on it. I wasn't really sure if I was going to like it, and I ended up loving Bloodborne. I like Dark Souls 3 as well, but I think Bloodborne was still a better game. And when Sekiro Shadows Die Twice, which I know is debatable whether or not it's a Souls-style game, that's probably my favorite From Software game. So to see Demon's Souls being remade, which I have an original PS3 copy, but I never played it, right? To see Demon's Souls being remade on the new consoles, and to see what they did with the gameplay, I mean, it really looks like everything from like the animations, the visuals, the movements, it just looks right, you know? It looks really, really good. And even more surprisingly, on top of this, is besides how great the game looks and how all the innovation that they did to the actual gameplay to make it look like it's a full blown, generational defining experience, it's actually a launch title for PlayStation 5, which, I mean, I said it before and I'll say it again. PS5 launching with Demon's Souls as a launch title, it's just that. That right there is going to move millions of units. I mean, this is now a franchise that's become very, they have a lot of notoriety in the gaming community. And I think people who aren't necessarily interested in sort of the more fantasy-style games that this game sort of evokes, are still going to give this game a shot. I mean, it looks fantastic. I'm really, 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 really impressed with what I saw with Demon's Souls. It looks like a good time, and really, really looking forward to playing it. All right. There's a few other things I want to talk about. They revealed the PlayStation Plus collection. This is their answer to Xbox Game Pass. You guys know my thoughts on Xbox Game Pass. The whole thing just isn't for me as someone who likes to collect physical media, as you can see. But I still think it's a great deal. Now, Sony revealed PlayStation Plus collection, which is essentially going to be their answer to Game Pass, but we did not get price. They did say it would be available at the launch of the PS5, and they gave us the titles that are going to be on it, which, to be honest, I mean, here's the thing. Sony had to have done this because it was just, I think that this is, for a lot of people, makes a lot of sense. The casual person's going to look at this and say, well, I'm just going to pay $10 a month and I get games. I could just go through this big library of games. The thing is, Xbox has been doing this longer, and they have a significantly larger library than Sony does, Now, Sony does have their great first-party games. You can only get on their consoles. That is Sony's sort of silver lining, right? But, in terms of the value, the bundle of what you get, I mean, there's just... Xbox's collection's, like, massive, like hundreds of games. On the PS Plus collection, it looks like you have maybe a little bit more than a dozen games to choose from. So I knew it was going to be difficult for them to come out with something and sort of match the value of Xbox, just because Microsoft has had the advantage of doing this for longer and having this out there for longer than Sony has. But, they had to have made it eventually. I think this is going to make sense for a lot of people, and I honestly think a lot of people are going to be joining this thing, especially as it matures and gets more games in there. So there's that. All right. Now let's talk about the PlayStation 5 price. The PlayStation 5 price, disc version is $500 and the digital version is $400. All right. I was pretty much expecting this after Microsoft came out and said the Series X was $500 and the Series S was $300. I said to myself, all right, well, Sony's probably going to match the Series X price for the disc version. I wouldn't think that they want to go more expensive. That would just kind of kill it. You want to make sure that you not really, you don't have to really undercut your competitor, but you want to make sure that it makes sense matching up against your competitor's console. And so, $500 is going to be the base price for basically the all-out PS4, the PS5, the one with the disc tray and everything like that. If you want the digital version, which again is the same hardware, unlike the Series S, this is the same hardware, just doesn't have a disc tray. It's going to be $400, which I think is a really good price. And I'll be honest with you guys again, I was expecting these consoles to be more expensive than they actually are. I was thinking that we were going to be seeing $600 for the Series X and PS5, and maybe $500 for like the PS5 digital edition. That is not what we got. You guys are getting a very, very, very powerful machine for like next to nothing, in terms of value. Especially these days, it's like, great, you have NVIDIA's RTX 3070 series, which eclipses these consoles, yes, and is the same price as a PS5 disc version and a Xbox Series X. But that's just the graphics card, You have to buy other parts for your computer, and you have to buy the monitors and everything like that, right? With the PS5 here, what you're getting for $400 is exceptional. Even what you're getting with the Series X and PS5 disc version for $500 is exceptional. These are really good prices, and I was really expecting them to be more expensive than they are, but they're not, which is great for us. But you get a lot for your money here. So I'm actually very, very, very pleased with the prices. and the console is coming out in the US on November 12th / November 13th. They're saying November 12th because at least in the Pacific time zone, that's releasing around 6 p.m. our time. I guess there's different markets, different time zones, whatever. So it's November 12th in the US, but it's next week. It's a week later after that, which I think is the November 19th for Europe and basically everywhere else in the world. So basically anywhere from like the western part of the region of the world, I think Mexico and Canada and stuff is going to be like November 12th release date. So, and the console is available for pre-order, or it was. So this is this allows me to transition into the next part of this video, which before I do that, let me just say that they closed the show off by announcing a sequel to God of War, which we all knew was coming, but it's apparently the title, the working title right now is God of War Ragnarok. So we got a little teaser with just the logo coming up, and they said 2021, which to me doesn't sound feasible. Like if the game to me doesn't, I don't think the game's coming out next year. That doesn't make sense. We haven't seen anything on the game. God of War 2018 came out, 2 years ago. So it's like we wouldn't get a sequel this soon. I think what you're going to see is a full reveal in 2021 with probably a release for 2022 or 2023, early 2023. That's what I think about God of War Ragnarok. So we'll have to wait and see, but it's nice that another one's coming. I haven't, revealed this at all because I'm waiting till I do my collection video, but I loved God of War's 2018, and honestly, it's probably the best game this generation, in my opinion, but I'll talk more about that when I do my full collection video and my best of this generation and all that stuff, alright? So, let's go back to the PS5 pre-orders. I'm glad I waited a day to record this video, because I saw a lot of people jumping on after this conference was over to record their videos, and there was a lot of animosity going around the internet because of basically the way Sony and these retailers decided to do things. So Sony announced, and this is just crappy communication to me, right? Sony announced that the price of the PS5 and the release date, they said that in their conference, but they did not tell you when you can pre-order the console. Instead, they tweeted, oh, by the way, pre-orders will start tomorrow, which is today, actually. What happened was not that. All these retailers are basically said fuck you to Sony and let the floodgates open and basically opened up listings for the PS5 pre-orders on their websites. Walmart was the first retailer to do this, and they even boasted about it on Twitter, which I'll have a screen cap of the tweet that they had up, right? Kind of funny, but also like, obviously there was a miscommunication here, and obviously there wasn't any set rules or any agreements or whatever. It was sort of like Sony said, all right, here are the numbers of pre-orders that you have available. We recommend that you put it up tomorrow. And Walmart's like, okay. And then they put it live, on their website. And after Walmart did it, Best Buy followed suit, Target followed suit. What else? There's another website as well. It was like all these retailers followed suit. GameStop also followed suit. The only person who actually listened to when these pre-orders went live was Amazon. Amazon actually put theirs live at 9 p.m. Pacific time, which equates to, midnight of the next day in the East Coast. So they're, as far as I'm aware, they're the only retailers who actually listened to Sony. So obviously a lot of people are now in uproar because you have people who They saw the tweet from Sony that it was going to be available tomorrow. They're like, okay, great. And they went off, walked away, did whatever. And all of a sudden, these retailers put their pre-orders live. And basically, if you weren't paying attention, you got screwed. And I feel bad for a lot of people. And it sucks. Now, let's talk about me. I was fortunate enough to secure... my Google Home going off. I was fortunate enough to secure a PS5 pre-order. I got one off of Walmart because I already saw the writing on the wall here, right? I predicted that Sony was probably going to want to put pre-orders out before Microsoft, even though that they announced their prices and stuff a week after them. I had a feeling that Sony wanted to get pre-orders out way before Microsoft's Series X, just to sort of deter people. I don't know, the way marketing works is whatever, right? So during the whole Sony conference, I had web pages up for Best Buy, GameStop, Walmart, Target, Amazon. Like, everything was up in tabs. I was signed in. I was ready, and I was refreshing constantly after. So I was lucky enough to actually pre-order a PS5, the disc-based version as well, with Spider-Man Miles Morales and Demon's Souls on PS5 via Walmart. I actually got a pre-order for the PS5 via Walmart, and not only that, I did an in-store pickup as well, so there's no delays in shipment when it comes to my house. In fact, I just have to drive to Walmart on release, and they said just walk in, you can come and pick it up anytime after 6 p.m. they estimated on Thursday. So I got a PS5 pre-ordered and locked and secured. I'm good to go. It's really frustrating. I can imagine how frustrating it is for a lot of people out there, because you were told something. Sony actually told people initially, we're not just going to put it live, whatever. And that's the thing. I don't know if this is really Sony's fault, because, I mean, it kind of is both Sony and all these retailers' fault as well, because I was thinking to myself, all right, if Walmart just put their pre-orders up because they felt like it for the PS5 hours before they were supposed to, then what's stopping them from just putting up the Series X pre-orders right now? To which the only logical thing I can think of is that there must be some type of contractual agreement or some type of agreement made that Microsoft has with retailers, like they prepared and said, all right, if we're going to give you the Series X and the Series S to sell, you cannot, if you take this stock, you cannot sell this or have this available for pre-order before Wednesday or Tuesday or whatever it is of next week. And there is probably some type of agreement in place. I have the feeling that Sony just said, all right, here's the numbers. We recommend you don't put this live until tomorrow. And exactly like I just showed you guys, Walmart was like, okay. And then, did whatever that they wanted. And then all these other retailers saw Walmart and was like, well, fuck, fine. And then they went live with their pre-orders. I'm not going to sit here and boast. I'm not going to be an asshole, because it's not fair regardless. It sucks. There's a lot of people who were ready, and my heart goes out to people who are at work while this is happening. I'm fortunate enough to be working from home because of the pandemic, so I'm in my bedroom here, and I'm just sitting here refreshing the pages, and I'm easily in my own space, and that's fine. I can sit here and watch the conference, and I can have web pages open and make sure I'm doing my work, and that's perfectly fine. If you are working retail, this sucks, because I know that you can't be on your phone constantly refreshing web pages while you're at your day job, especially in any type of like high performance work environment. It sucks. It really does suck, and I don't know who to. It's like, I guess both Sony and Sony and the retailers are to blame for this, because there's no agreement like Microsoft must have had with those other retailers. Because again, what's stopping Walmart right now from saying, all right, pre-order the Series X? Like, what's stopping them? There must be some type of agreement or something in place. So I was fortunate enough to get one, and I'm telling you guys this because, obviously I want to cover it for you guys on my channel, and I was really looking forward to getting one, and I have one, and that's great. At least I have one secured right now. The only thing that would really fucking suck, and the only thing that would really suck is if Walmart says, you know what, we sold too many, sorry, and then they canceled all these orders. That's the only thing that would suck. And I actually read an article earlier today saying that Walmart was doing that to some people. Luckily, I still have my order in place at Walmart. I think I did a pickup in store, which I don't know if it's different than actually shipping it to your house, like if they calculate that differently, because the stores are only going to get a certain amount. And so when you do a pre-order and pickup at store, I would think that it detracts whatever number that is from the amount that they're going to have in the store. But I just don't know. I don't know how that's working. So, bottom line is for me, guys, yes, I have a PS5 disc-based version pre-ordered. I do have Demon's Souls and Spider-Man Miles Morales pre-ordered with it. Now, there are other games coming out, of course. We have Assassin's Creed Valhalla and Call of Duty Black Ops Cold War coming out, and Watch Dogs Legion as well, coming out at the launch of these consoles. Here's the thing. I am waiting for the Digital Foundry review and assessments for these other games. Why? Because theoretically, the Xbox Series X should wipe the floor with PS5 in terms of third-party ports. It does have more power, so it should either give you better performance or higher resolutions. However, let's think back during the early 7th generation. The PS3 should have wiped the floor with the 360, but it was because of its weird architecture that we actually saw a lot of developers have ports on PS3 that looked worse and performed worse than they did on the Xbox 360, despite it being a significantly more capable console. So I want to wait and see when these consoles come out, which one is going to be the better version for third-party games. Again, it should be the Series X, looking at the spec sheet and the numbers, but the PS5 has an SSD. Is that really going to make a huge difference with games? Are we going to start seeing like something in the games that makes it more seamless, or that makes the experience better on PS5, despite it maybe looking and running smoother on the Xbox Series X? I don't know. So I just want to wait and see and make sure that whichever version of these games I'm going to get is going to be the best version for me. Because with the Series X, if that is the case, then I'll just get Assassin's Creed Valhalla, Watch Dogs Legion. I have Yakuza 7 already pre-ordered on the Series X, but that's just because it's a launch exclusive on that console. And Call of Duty, I'm going to have to wait and see on that one as well. So that's why, although I'm interested in getting those games and unboxing them for you guys, that is why I'm waiting to see before I actually purchase those games on which console. I want to see which version is actually the better version of these games, and then I'll get them on that console accordingly. Okay? So there's that. Now, this leads me into my coverage details. Now, obviously, the Series X pre-orders go live next week. So I am planning to also get a Series X for you guys. I'm going to try and do my best to get both consoles on release. But let's say something happens and I cannot get a Series X pre-ordered for you guys, and I just have the PS5 pre-ordered. All right? I wanted to ask you guys directly how you want me to cover this, okay? Because I could do what I did back in 2013 for the PS4 and the Xbox One. I can sit there and unbox the console for you guys, which I think I'm going to do anyway, right? But if you guys want to see a setup tour of me, plugging the console in, booting it up for the first time, going through the home menu like I did the Lab series back when those consoles came out. If you guys want to see gameplay footage of Spider-Man or Demon's Souls, my first impressions on that, I think what I'll end up at the very least, I'll end up doing an unboxing video. I'll probably end up doing a weekend impressions video as well. So, like, after I played the PS5 and the Series X for, like, a weekend, hey, guys, here's my initial thoughts on the console. And then maybe, like, a couple months down the line, maybe, like, early January, you guys remember I did a PlayStation 4 versus Xbox One video where I said, all right, I've had the consoles for a couple months. Here's my full impressions. I might do the same thing again with the Series X and PS5. But I really want to know what you guys want to see, because I know some of you may not be as fortunate enough to see to have pre-ordered the PlayStation 5 or the upcoming Series X, or maybe you're not getting these consoles on release. Is there anything in particular you guys want me to cover? Do you guys want me to do the UI? Do you want me to go through and do gameplay footage? I can do these things, but I want to know what you guys are interested in seeing, and if there's anything new that you're interested in seeing that you might not necessarily see from other people, all right? Or maybe you're just interested in my thoughts. That's perfectly fine. But I really want your help here to you guys directly to see how you guys want me to cover these consoles, all right? I'm not really happy with the state the channel is in. I know content has been very lackluster for these past couple years, actually. I'm not going to sit here and apologize again and again. You guys know why that is the way it is. But I am excited for these consoles. Truly, you know, I'm very much optimistic about this generation, and I'm just happy to get new hardware. And I want to share that experience with you guys, and I want to make sure that the stuff that I do focus on, the content that I am focusing on making, is stuff that you guys are interested in seeing. And so that's why it really matters to me what you guys specifically want to see. So I'll try, again, I'll probably do the unboxing regardless, and I'll do my like weekend impressions of the consoles regardless. But if there's anything else, if you want to see gameplay, if you want to see the UI tour, the setup tour, I can make it pretty much like the 2014 or 2013, excuse me, unboxing and launch of the PS4 and the Xbox One. I can do that again with the Series X and the PS5. But you guys may prefer a different way of me doing things. So we're gonna have to wait and see. Regardless, I'm just really excited to get this new hardware in my house, man. I know some people, you know, are a bit discouraged, maybe because of the launch lineup, or some people don't see the point, or some people don't have the money. It's tough times right now, especially they're launching this console in the middle of a pandemic. And the thing about pre-ordering a system, I mean, I always like getting consoles on day one. The reason is because I really enjoy seeing that change, that growth between a console's inception all the way basically until the end of the console generation. I like seeing how much it's changed. And the Xbox One in particular, I mean, when it launched with the original dashboard, I mean, you just compare that to what we have now, it's like, you know, it's a little bit interesting to see all the new features that were added and how things changed over time. And I just enjoy I enjoy seeing that, and I enjoy being a part of that. So that's why I really like getting these consoles on release. It's new hardware. It's cool to be excited. These consoles are going to be backwards compatible as well, so I'll still be able to play through games on my backlog as well. And we got, you know, a lot of great games coming as well, especially next year. It's going to be pretty cool. So, yeah, those are my overall thoughts on the PS5 showcase, whatever you want to call it, the price reveal. I think it's a really good price for both the PlayStation 5 and the Series X. You get a lot for your money. I am fortunate enough to have a PS5 pre-ordered, so I will cover it, but please let me know what the coverage details are. And anything else that I missed, just feel free to write it in the comments, alright? So I'm going to leave you guys with that. Thank you all so much for watching this video. It means a lot, and I'll see you for the PS5 launch unboxing, and hopefully for the Series X unboxing as well. In fact, if I do pre-order a Series X, I am going to make a video next week saying, alright, I got the console. You know, I'll just basically reiterate some points and stuff like that in that video. Okay? Thank you guys so much, and have a good one.